All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this virtual special board meeting. Joining me this evening are our Vice Chair, Saba Barreda, Steve Bumbaugh, Naomi Shelton, Leah Crucy, Ricardo Ganjum, and in just a few moments, Jim Sandman will also be joining us. My name is Rick Cruz, and I am Chair of the Public Charter School Board. There is optional video for board members and as well for presenters for tonight's meetings. As we move through each agenda item, Briani, our moderator for the evening, will unmute DC PCSB staff or individuals speaking on behalf of a school. The hand-raising feature has been disabled this evening. Individuals have previously signed up to testify and will be called upon. As a reminder, all written public comment is available to the public on our website. If you didn't sign up by sending your name to Briani before this meeting, please submit your comments to public.comment@dcpcsb.org. That's public.comment@dcpcsb.org, or you may call our public comment line to leave a voicemail testimony at 202-963-0949. We have 5 members of the public who have signed up as witnesses this evening. I'd like to begin straight away with Gordon Andrew Fletcher. Mr. Fletcher, please keep your comments to 2 minutes, and Bree, if you would allow him onto the line.
I don't see Gordon. I'm going to email him separately.
Okay, then maybe I'll move on to the next and we'll give him a chance to come on at the end of the public testimony. Beth Blaufuss.
Beth, you're unmuted.
Thank you. I appreciate the time.
Hi.
Tonight, I would simply like to reiterate what I have written in written testimony. I urge the Public Charter School Board tonight to vote in favor of granting a charter to Girls Global Academy. It has been absolutely my privilege during this past planning year to serve as chair of its board of trustees. And I trust that the documentation we provided you all and that you've reviewed about our fiscal stewardship, our operational and academic planning, and our regulatory compliance supports the idea that the founding team are definitely ready to deliver effectively and joyfully on the promises of sisterhood, scholarship, service, and safety that we're so excited an increasing number of girls each week are seeking as they enroll. As you know, our long-term school home is in the heart of the city between Metro Center and Gallery Place, and we hope that is where our students are as well, in the heart of a city who cares enough about them to ensure that they have a high school option that serves them best, with IB academics for all, pathways to learn business and engineering, and a sense of safety and empowerment that inspires them to lift each other and our communities up. A full complement of high quality school choices available to all is the promise at the core of charter schooling. And with the addition of a high school for students who believe that an all girls environment is right for them, our city will take one step closer to making available to all district residents and the educational option that right now has only been available to those with the means to attend DC's private all-girls schools, whose tuitions are well in excess of $30,000 per year. So finally, in these tumultuous times, it is all the more important that teens find a school home that nurtures and equips them to flourish in a better world that we hope and know that they are already helping us to build. Girls Global Academy will be that school home for our students, and I am grateful for your consideration and hope that you'll authorize us tonight to be this option for young people. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Blaufuss. All right, Bree, the next individual on the public testimony list is Nasir Cornish.
You're unmuted.
Hello, can people hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, well, today I'm here to talk about the social Justice School. I actually wrote a speech for this moment. So I'm going into 6th grade for the Social Justice School. And I would like to perform my speech now.
Go right ahead.
Okay. Dear the Board of the Directors of the DC Public Charter Schools, today I will be talking about why the Social Justice School should be a real charter school. The Social Justice School will teach their children the truth about the past and their history. It will give an extraordinary academic experience and be a perfect place for 5th and 6th graders. One thing that is important that can be an essential part of a child's life is social studies. Most schools have this, but at the same time, they don't always tell the truth about that subject and cut out the real story. The Social Justice School will give the kids the info they need to understand the fact of the matter. Another thing that is important for school purposes is the education that is included. Most schools focus on one subject, then give up on the other. But at this school, all subjects will have the equal amount of attention that is deserved. The last thing that a school needs is different grades and age groups. I am happy that the Social Justice School is opening up with 5th and 6th grade because it is important for 5th graders to learn from 6th graders so that they can learn social skills and how to study for tests and certain things like that. Thank you for listening to my testimony. I hope that this testimony will reach your hearts and will help the school be approved as a new school.
Thank you.
That is what I've written. It took like 3 days to do this.
Nasir, thank you so much for joining us this evening. That will likely be the highlight of this evening's testimony. We really appreciate it, and I'm glad that you feel so strongly about the school.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks. All right. Tough act to follow. Bree, I believe Shonta Williams is next on the list.
Shonta, you're unmuted.
I think she may still be muted, Bree.
Unmute myself. Okay, you can
Yeah.
hear me now?
Yes,
Okay.
we can hear you now, Ms. Williams.
All right. So good evening, members of the DC Public Charter School Board. My name is Shonta Williams, and I am a lifelong resident of Ward 5. I've been here for about 50 years and parent of Rakim Williams, who is enrolled to attend the school in the fall of 2020, the Social Justice School. So I'm here to provide a testimonial in support of the Social Justice School receiving full approval to open this fall. During this unprecedented time as it unfolds in our history, what better time to open a school that will teach and help support our children in learning the authentic value of justice and social justice. For too long, our children have been subject to falsehoods and untruths about who they are and who they have the potential to be. This founding class has the blessing of being born into a time where a worldwide social justice movement of continuity that we have never seen and hopefully will never have to see again. The programmatic thrust of this school will allow children to adjust the lens on not only how we see ourselves, but how we see others, and will promote a mindset for the students engaged in this work to know that they are more than enough to shift the energy of this country and prayerfully this world by telling and participating in their stories. This type of engagement in school can only empower and encourage the creation of judges, engineers, scientists, mathematicians, social workers, educators, builders, scientists, writers, reporters, and creators. In closing, there is so much that I could say, but there just isn't the time. But I trust that the Social Justice School will flourish and make their mark on many children in Washington, D.C. It could be a remedy that our children have been missing, or a welcoming spark to becoming conscious young people. Again, I ask that you vote to give the Social Justice School full approval to open this fall. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. All right, next on our list is Dr. Sharia Shanklin. Bree, if you would unmute Dr. Shanklin.
You're unmuted.
I think you may need to unmute yourself. Is that? There we are.
Okay, thank you.
We can hear you now.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I too am a resident of Ward 5 and have the pleasure and honor of speaking on behalf of the Social Justice School as well. And it really is very heartfelt to have this opportunity, because I believe the Social Justice School will be an important addition to public education in our community because of the implementation of multiple innovative practices. The Social Justice School is opening at a very pivotal time. The youth who attend will have opportunity to apply concrete and conceptual knowledge and skills gained in academic efforts to current areas of personal focus and what matters to them as they navigate the critical stage of growth and development. It is really during this time, puberty and adolescence, that values, beliefs, attitudes, perceptions, sexual orientation, and more about their humanism becomes clearer. Therefore, approving a charter school like the Social Justice will, with a expeditionary learning curriculum that will provide real-time opportunity to explore the issues that are important to them and have engaging projects and field trips that are connected to DC social justice issues and communities is very significant. Additionally, it gives them a voice and it positions them to attend, for those students who attend, to become advocates for local, national, and global positive progression. Another factor around the Social Justice School is, even in the stages that we're currently in, they have been very responsive, very inclusive, and highly cooperative. We have been inspired, impressed, and very appreciative of how they've had many virtual connections during this time. And they have done so to stimulate and motivate families to have meaningful relationships, because they recognize that it's our collective conversation that contributes to decision-making and problem solving. I am, and my family is very excited about the starting of the Social Justice School, and request that you vote to give social justice full approval. And I am going to be a grandparent of a 6th grader, Nasir Corey. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for testifying this evening. All right, Bree, can we go back to Gordon Andrew Fletcher, who I don't believe was on at the top of the call. Is he available now?
Yes. Gordon, you're Commissioner Gordon, you're unmuted.
I believe we can hear you now.
Hello?
Yes.
Hold on, I'm sorry. I cannot hear you. Hello?
Yes. We can hear you.
For some reason, I can't. Okay, hello?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, so I can start talking now?
Yes, you may.
Okay, great. Okay. Good evening. As the Commissioner of Single Member District 5808 of ANC 5A, I'm proud to submit this letter of support and this testimony at this time for Social Justice Public Charter School. As a new community-focused middle school founded to build young scholar activists, the Social Justice School will meet a critical need in Washington, D.C., preparing students for high school, college, and career readiness. Families do not simply desire for their children to go on to college and careers. They want learning environments where students work collaboratively, communicate effectively, and solve complex problems. Along with my community, I support the Social Justice School's founders in their pursuit of educational justice as an intentionally integrated community. I believe the Social Justice School will provide a high-quality middle school for our community and at capacity give 300 students in Ward 5 and ANC 5A08 in particular the opportunity for deeper learning and problem solving in many neighborhoods throughout the city. Additionally, I appreciate and have been impressed by the continued and regular engagement the school's founders have had with our community since August 2019. The Social Justice School truly believes in building with, not for the community, and their actions of asking for our community's feedback and help reflects this. I look forward to continuing to build with the Social Justice School and the founding group throughout the school's development and growth. I'm excited about the prospect of this school's developing young scholar activists in our community and strongly support the Social Justice School. Please grant the Social Justice School final approval to open their doors to children and families this August. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. All right, that brings to a close our public testimony for this evening. We're going to roll right into our public meeting, and if I could get a motion from our board to approve the agenda.
I move to approve the June 29th, 2020 board meeting.
Second.
Agenda, sorry.
A motion and a second. We'll do a roll call vote. Steve Bumbaugh.
Aye.
Naomi Shelton.
Aye.
Mayor Crucy.
Aye.
Saba Beretta.
Aye.
Ricardo Ganjam.
Aye.
Jim Sandman.
Aye.
And this is Rick Cruz with an aye. Agenda approved. So we're meeting this evening for final charter approvals for 5 schools. Hannah, I believe you are going to represent the PCSB and get us started this evening.
Yep. Hello, my name is Hannah Cousineau, and I am a manager on the Equity Audits and Supports team. DC PCSB staff recommends that the board vote to fully approve the 15-year charter agreement of the Sojourner Truth Public Charter School, effective July 1st, 2020, and expiring no later than June 30th, 2035. The charter agreement includes the school's facility address at 1800 Perry Street Northeast. Over the past year, the school has met all conditions set forth in its decision letter, including securing a facility, and it has demonstrated its economic viability by submitting a staff-reviewed contingency budget. Staff also recommends that Board Chair Rick Cruz signs the agreement on the board's behalf. Representatives from the Sojourner Truth Public Charter School are here if you have any remaining questions.
Excellent. Does the school want to make any remarks before I open it up to the board for any questions we might have?
This is Jim Sandman. What is your current enrollment number as of today?
As of right now, we have 80 students fully enrolled at our school.
And how are the 80 split between the 2 grades?
I mean, it's roughly 60% 6th grade and 40% 7th grade.
And what is your plan going forward to try to meet your enrollment goal?
Hey, good evening all. I'm sorry, I think I was just unmuted there. This is Justin Lessek. And once again, good evening. Thank you, Ryan, for fielding that last question. Our enrollment, our original projection from OSSI was at 80 students, and so we're right at that projection now. Our ceiling and our goal is 90, and so we're hoping to continue recruiting and to continue enrolling students all the way up until around 100 students if possible. And so we've been hitting the virtual pavement and the real pavement pretty hard, and are going to continue to do so all the way through September.
So do you have the specific grade numbers handy? Your original projection had been 67 students in grade 6 and 23 in grade 7.
Yeah, and I believe we are at, let's see, we're at around 55 and 25 right now. It's a little bit closer to 50-30, I believe.
Thank you.
Justin, did you have any, oh, sorry, I was just going to ask you, Justin, did you have any opening remarks? I know, yeah, since you weren't on at the very top of this.
Oh, I appreciate that, Mr. Cruz. I don't think so. Just other than just we're appreciative of Hannah, the whole board, but specifically the PCSB staff for the support we've gotten over this last planning year.
Great, thanks, Justin.
As well as I should mention the other 4 schools. We also appreciate sort of the thinking and the collaboration that they've all engaged in as well.
Great. Ricardo, did you have a question?
I do, thank you. Justin, with the impacts that we're seeing of COVID-19, I'm curious to know how are you adjusting your approach for the fall?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's coming along. So we're planning and we're continuing to plan for multiple scenarios. So we've been participating in the ongoing dialogue with the Deputy Mayor of Education's office, other school leaders, our community, our stakeholders, the Department of Health. The PCSB also, we're appreciative of Ms. Bruce now being an added resource to help plan around this. So we have a planning team made up of parents, board members, our leadership team, staff members. The biggest priority is going to continue to be safety and health. And then just behind that is like delivering on our actual model. So specifically thinking about what makes Truth special. So things like personalization, our focus on self-direction, working each unit to expose kids to meaningful work with real life experiences. So those are also strong components of what we're planning for. As a relatively small school, starting with presumably less than 100 students, we're in position where we are pushing hard to be able to open our doors 5 days a week for full school days to all parents and families who want their students at school full time. And so we're pushing hard to make sure we can do that in a safe way. And based on our current plan and the sort of the experts that we're leaning on to support us with it, we're confident that we're going to be able to deliver on that. As long as guidelines are able to stay as they are now. But again, we've got multiple scenarios because, anything could happen, I suppose, over the next month and a half.
Gotcha. So just in thinking about that, do you have sort of a timeline for when you think you have to make a final decision of an announcement for the fall?
We're continuing to, when it comes to like speaking with our enrolled families, so that's happening in an ongoing way. Guidelines as they're stated now, and the families that have been forthcoming and told us sort of who wants to attend every day and who is more comfortable at home. If guidelines were to stay as they are now, we could serve every single family that wants to have their student with us 5 days a week could do so. So we have 7 learning spaces. The current guidelines allow for 12 total people per space. And so that's, 11 students and a teacher. So that's 77 students right there. And then we do have a couple other pull-out spaces that could also hold a few students at proper social distancing with support teaching staff as well.
Great. And how is your teaching staff responding to the plan so far?
So far, they've been very supportive. As we've been, sharing our plans as they're developed with families to continue to get input. It's been super important to us to also make sure that all of our draft scenarios and things are available for teachers as well. But we're very sensitive to the fact that, like everybody on our leadership team, so Principal Edwards, Mr. Abel, who just spoke, myself, we've all got kids at home. And so we know sort of the stress that teachers are potentially under, as well as other staff, when it comes to hours in the building and other responsibilities. So we've been sensitive to that, and they've been part of the process.
Gotcha. Great. Thank you. My last question would be, is there anything you need from the board in terms of planning? Any ways support that you need?
Thank you for that question. We have, when it comes to like the PCSB staff, we have on a number of occasions asked for support. And I suppose just knowing that you're there and interested and willing and hopefully responsive. I know the rest of the PCSB staff has been incredibly responsive. And I think particularly with COVID planning and sort of support interpreting guidelines and knowing that you all are there as a resource is incredibly helpful. And so we're grateful for it. Thank you.
Justin, thank you for this. I'm curious if you could elaborate at all on how the Montessori kind of professional society has been supporting you and other partner schools in adapting to a different learning environment.
Yeah, that's a great question too. We have gotten a lot of support. So as you all are probably familiar just from our charter agreement, so we have staff that are coming in already Montessori credentialed, and then all of our other core teachers that do not yet have their credentials are already in a program with AMS, so the American Montessori Society. And they've had to sort of switch up their delivery of training has been virtual. And I know that that's a big part of the experience that the team is getting is, in fact, well, how do we employ Montessori practices and things in a socially distanced way and in a virtual way if necessary. You might remember or already be familiar with a big part of adolescent Montessori is the concept of the Erdkinder, which is this idea that students are getting real touches out of the classroom on enterprises and things that like impact society at large and not just their teacher. And so even this summer, before we've even, fully started as a school, we've been thinking and working with other Montessori partners around, well, what could that look like in a virtual space? And so on our website now, we have like book reviews, which are done entirely by students. So this idea that it's student produced work, and it's not work to get a check mark or a grade from a teacher, but it's work to go out there and be a public resource to other middle school students that might be looking for interesting books to read and to give their opinions on things, again, in sort of like a sheltered way where we are a bit of the gatekeepers per se, but doing so in a manner that, again, allows them to influence society at large. And so it's been, I think, a learning experience for everybody, but we found the Montessori community to be very supportive and very progressive sort of in experimenting with different ways to implement the philosophy.
Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions from board members? I have one really quick one, either for Hannah or for Scott. Justin mentioned Ms. Bruce and some of the supports that are being provided. Could you just remind us of some of the investments that PCSB has made in the reopening support bucket?
I see Lenore's on the phone, so we're on the call, so I will turn it over to her unless she's not able to be unmuted, and then I'll. We have long provided support for schools on issues of school safety, where we review school emergency plans and we review school layouts and to be sure that they are safe environments and prepared for emergencies. With the advent of coronavirus, we have added health safety to that charge. We have contracted with Deanna Bruce, who for over 10 years was the head of health and wellness at DC Public Schools. She is now a full-time contractor with us, and she is available to consult with schools on their safety plans. She both brings her expertise as well as a service of kind of working between the schools and OSSI and DC Health to resolve questions and things like that. We are also bringing on in a couple of weeks, Sharon Bostic. Sharon, for years, oversaw the school nurses program at Children's Hospital, and she will also be assisting schools with their health and safety questions, their health related questions, as well as implementing a process where PCSB will be overseeing and looking at schools' implementation of their practices throughout the year, and working with schools when we see practices that are not compliant to bring them into compliance.
Thanks, Scott.
Sure.
All right. Well, if there aren't any other questions for the Sojourner Truth team, I will take a motion.
I move to fully approve the charter of the Sojourner Truth Public Charter School and approve the DC PCSB board chair to sign the charter agreement on the board's behalf.
Second.
All right, I've got a motion and a second. Again, roll call vote. Ricardo Ganjam.
Aye.
Naomi Shelton.
Aye.
Leah Crucy.
Aye.
Jim Sandman.
Aye.
Saba Barreda.
Aye.
Bumbao.
Aye.
And it's an aye for me as well. Congratulations, Sojourner Truth.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We'll look forward. I would normally say we'll look forward to visiting in the fall. I'm hoping we might still find a way to do so.
Thank you.
All right. Next up is the Social Justice School. So Bree, if you could unmute the Social Justice team. All right.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. Just want to make sure we've got everybody.
Yep, I think that's all the names I provided. Myron, feel free to let me know if there was somebody else on your team you wanted added to the list right now.
Okay, it's just me, Reggie, and Brandon and Michele.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, so once again, hi, I'm Hannah Cousineau, manager on the Equity Audits and Supports team. DC PCSB staff recommends that the board vote to fully approve the 15-year charter agreement of Social Justice Public Charter School, effective July 1st, 2020, and expiring no later than June 30th, 2035. The charter agreement includes the school's facility address at 5450 3rd Street Northeast. Over the past year, the school has met all conditions set forth in its decision letter, including securing a facility, and it has demonstrated its economic viability by submitting a staff-reviewed contingency budget. Staff also recommends that Board Chair Rick Cruz signs the agreement on the board's behalf. Representatives from Social Justice Public Charter School are here if you have any remaining questions.
Thank you. Myron, team, any opening remarks? Otherwise, I will turn it to the board.
Yes. Thank you all for the opportunity to be here tonight. Super humbled to represent for our team and also as a native Washingtonian, excited for the progress that we're making in education. I'm Myron Long. I'm the founder and executive of the Social Justice School. On behalf of the founding board, leadership team, staff, and families of the Social Justice School, I speak for all of us when I say I feel a sense of awe and gratitude for the opportunity to be here. We are here in the final stretch of making our vision real to make our case for full approval to open this revolutionary middle school this fall. We are a community of designers who believe in the power of iteration, and iterate we have. Together, we affirm that now is the time for a school centered on social justice, such as this one, and we agree on the following tensions of our school. We will make students feel known, loved, and challenged regardless of their identities. We will curate field experiences and interactions that will open up students' minds to new ideas and possibilities. We will not tell our students what to think, but rather how to think, analyze, strategize, and collaborate with stakeholders of all backgrounds. Beyond the qualitative value of starting a social justice school in our city in this moment in time, we can make the case for full approval based on the following objective criteria. 1, we have met all the conditions outlined in the board's condition of approval. 2, we are 2/3 of fully enrolled and several students in the process, and we are on track to continue to enroll students to meet our goal. 3, we are now fully staffed, which further enables us to meet or exceed our enrollment targets for the fall and prepare for whatever external circumstances we encounter. 4, we have the support of DC families and local community leaders, such as Nasir and Commissioner Gordon Fletcher. Community partnership is one of our core values, and we certainly intend to build upon these connections as we create a nurturing village for our scholars. We have contingencies. One advantage of planning a school during a global pandemic and then a civil rights movement is that we are nimble and prepared for all sorts of contingencies, which could include various combinations of learning in classrooms, online, and in the field. We have plans for 100% of our students being in our building, 100% of our students to learn virtually, and 100% of our students to spend part of their time learning in person and part of their time learning virtually. We have plans to support the social and emotional needs of all of our students, regardless of how we launch. We have plans to support our students who have special needs and who receive ELL support, regardless of how we launch as well. And we are planning to address issues of access and opportunity for students who will need technology, Wi-Fi, and other supports to learn online. We are planning for high quality PD to support teachers on how to implement distance learning. We are planning to ensure that our scholar activists feel known, loved, and challenged, even if we launch with distance learning. And we are planning to ensure that our families' basic needs are met. And lastly, we are planning to ensure that the safety of our students, families, and staff by operationalizing the recommendations by CDC and the Department of Health. We are in a solid financial position. We have a number of versions of our budget to accommodate our contingencies, and all of these contingencies account for a positive net income. We exceed the amount of days on cash recommended with the ability to implement the core of our instructional component of our instructional model. We've acquired a facility and our building is still on track to be ready when we launch. We are prepared. We are unapologetically insistent that now is the time for an anti-racist, equity, and advocacy-focused social justice middle school for DC families. We ask you that you please grant the Social Justice School final approval to open our doors to our scholar activists in August. Thank you.
Thank you, Myron. Board members.
Good evening, everyone from the Social Justice School team. This is Naomi Shelton. Thank you for that, that overview of where you all are. Would love to dig in a little more on where you all are on your enrollment. Can you give us a breakdown of where you've landed in the last few days?
Yes. Hi, Commissioner. I'm sorry. Hi, Ms. Shelton. This is Reggie Galloway, our Director of Operations for the Social Justice School. Currently, we are 2/3 fully enrolled, 43 students in total who have completed the enrollment process, 30 in grade 6 and 13 in grade 5. In addition, we have about 5 families who are in the pipeline of completing the enrollment.
Thank you. And in terms of where your enrollment projections were and where you are now, I noticed that you said that you have cash on hand. How, in terms of your contingencies, can you walk us through how the difference in what you projected and what you've landed on, how that impacts your fund?
Definitely. So thank you, Naomi. We have additional funding from our reimbursement that we have with OSSI. So we have an OSSI guarantee of $500,000 and then a City Bridge guarantee of $250,000 $1,000 as well, in addition to a City Bridge grant for our facilities. So that will allow us to do two things. One, it'll allow us to enter this year with a significant number of cash on hands, with approximately 108 days of cash on hands when we begin. And then two, we've also adjusted our staffing model to ensure that we can have a positive net income, exceed the days of cash on hands, and still implement our core instructional model. Some of those adjustments that are noted in the memo is that I will function as the executive director and the principal, and given my experience as a principal of DC Public Charter Schools, that should not be a concern. And then Michele Gray, our Director of Student Support Services, will actually function as a special education teacher and will also coordinate and oversee our specialized instruction. And Brandon Johnson, our founding principal, will become our math teacher, because again, we wanted to make sure that we had a consistent transition from the staff members that were involved with the planning year to our actual launch. So overall, we were able to ensure we had a positive net income and actually keep our days of cash on hands and still implement our core instructional model.
Thank you.
Thanks for that explanation, that thorough explanation, Myron. How are you, this is Steve Bumbaugh. How are you all recruiting to fill that 1/3 gap in the age of COVID?
Yes. Hi, Mr. Bumbaugh. This is Reggie Galloway again. So as Myron said earlier, we're a community designers, and COVID-19 represents a unique opportunity for us to be innovative and find new ways to recruit families and also stay connected. And during the course of the pandemic, we've had about 10 virtual events, but also we've done unique things such as socially distanced street canvassing, socially distanced in-person events, socially distant community circles for families who have already enrolled, outdoor family meetups, door-to-door no contact canvassing, and we've actually had an opportunity to have our teachers and staff and board members deliver care packages and materials to enrolled families, which was really a unique moment. And one thing that we're going to do moving forward is continue to utilize these methods of communication, both remote and socially distanced methods, but also infuse wellness and joy into these activities. And my colleague Michele can speak to that. But first, I just want to say also, we've utilized a variety of online marketing methods such as Facebook ads, digital newsletters, digital streaming on Radio 1, Instagram posts, and personalized phone calls, text messages, and email communications, and postcards. And my colleague Michele can tell you more about how we're infusing joy and wellness into the next phase of recruitment.
Thank you, Reggie, for that explanation. We're going to continue to do all of those kinds of the strategies that Reggie outlined, but we're also including things such as making sure that when we do get together, we do reach out to families, that we provide the information they need about our program, and also joy and wellness activities in order to make sure they feel connected, so they get a good idea of who the Social Justice School is, not just as an institution, but as a staff. And we also do these individual check-ins to find out exactly what families need in order to either fill out their enrollment information or find out information about our school. We really make sure that we just ask them what they need in order to move forward, which also includes things of not just joy and wellness and just strategies to get their paperwork done, but also thinking about ways to pick up documents. We had a couple of families that we were able to fully enroll because they only spoke Spanish, and I was able to speak with them in Spanish so they can learn about our program, but also they were able to see that there will be someone there to support them through the enrollment process.
And I would just close out, Steve, by saying, we are going to continue to engage the families who are further along in the enrollment process. But we also have additional families who have matched with us as well. And so, we have about 98% of our applications for our target in terms of like a combination of matches and additional families who are in the queue. And again, our focus is on leveraging our relationships. And so many of the applications that we received post-lottery have actually been coming from recommendations from parents and members of our community. So we'll continue to engage them. And so again, our strategy is two parts. One, retain the families that we currently have and continue to recruit additional families as well.
Thanks for the thorough response.
Thank you.
Hi, I just had a question on I'm excited that you're able to maintain the core aspects of the program, which obviously excited this board. Can you just talk a little bit about what impact, if any, there's been on the liberation design and the crew aspect, which I think are two really unique parts of your curriculum? If there's been any impact, just given that you have lower enrollment than you expected.
Well, no, crew is essential to who we are and what we do. And you've heard us probably talk at length exhaustingly about LDT. And so I, with great pleasure, will announce that there have been no hiccups to either the LDT class or crew for any of the teachers at our school. Again, with our revised staffing model, we'll still be able to facilitate a crew with smaller sizes of students. And we have hired our LDT teacher back in February. And so she's still planning to join with us. So again, as of right now, well, really not as of right now, but period, we feel very confident that we will still be able to effectively implement LDT and crew.
Great, thank you. And then just an update on the status of the construction of your facility.
Yes. So actually, there have been no hiccups in terms of the status of our facility. As you know, we are co-located with Rocket Ship, and they have shared with us that they are expecting construction to be delivered and completed on time, which is approximately July 21st.
And I would add some of that, we would love for you all to ride by and see the progress that we're making. We just had a virtual walkthrough last week with some of our families and our partners in the work with Rocket Ship and Apple Tree. And the site is definitely on progress. And we understand that we are building a building during a pandemic. And so it would not be strategic of us as folks who are passionate about design thinking and also committed to opening the school to not have a backup plan in the event that in the event that there's a COVID outbreak at the location. And thankfully, the team there has been really, really thoughtful about ensuring that the conditions are safe and the safety protocols are implemented. But we do have a contingency backup space that we can access in the event that our building is significantly delayed.
Any other questions at this time? All right. Well, if there are no other questions, I will take a motion.
I move to fully approve the Charter of Social Justice Public Charter School and approve the DC PCSB Board Chair to sign the charter agreement on the board's behalf.
Second.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call vote again. Saba Beretta.
Aye.
Jim Sandman.
Aye.
Steve Bumbao.
Aye.
Ricardo Ganjum.
Aye.
Naomi Shelton.
Aye.
Leah Crucy.
Aye.
And this is Rick Cruz with an aye. So unanimous, you are fully approved. Congratulations, Social Justice School.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome. We'll look
Thank
forward
you.
to hearing how the final planning and enrollment go and what opening looks like as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Hannah, you own the show this evening. So next, I believe we're going to bring up the iDream team. The iDream team. The Dream Team.
Hello.
All right.
Okay. Hi.
Hi. Is that Hannah? You'll
This
kick
is-
it off and make sure we have everyone.
Yep, I think Briani, the one person I don't see right now is Diana Banks, their board chair. So if you can find her, I think she would like to join as well.
She's not on.
Okay. Well, Janine, feel free to contact me if there's somebody we have forgotten right now.
Okay. I will. Thank you.
Hello. DC PCSB staff recommends that the board vote to fully approve the 15-year charter agreement of iDream Public Charter School, effective July 1st, 2020, and expiring no later than June 30th, 2035. The charter agreement includes the school's facility address at 2220 Branch Avenue Southeast. Over the past year, the school has met all conditions set forth in its decision letter, including securing a facility. And it has demonstrated its economic viability by submitting a staff-reviewed contingency budget. Staff also recommends that Board Chair Rick Cruz signs the agreement on the board's behalf. Representatives from iDream Public Charter School are here if you have any remaining questions.
Excellent. Before we go to questions, any opening remarks or anything you'd like to share at the top of the call?
Yes. First of all, just thank you again for this final opportunity to come before you and to show you what we have been doing and why we deserve to have full charter approval. What has come up for me in this time is this quote. I just keep seeing it. It says, "In uncertain times, anything is possible." And so that speaks to me because at iDream PCS, we've always believed anything is possible. I mean, that's why we are creating a space to nurture children in grades pre-K 3 to 5 to dream and to believe that anything is possible and that they can blaze their own path. In this time of this pandemic, I think we all are realizing that everyone is impacted by it in different ways. And as we're trying to reopen and bring businesses and organizations and schools back online, we're realizing that we need to find out how people are impacted, and we need to find out what they need and how they can thrive. And so this idea of customizing schedules and customizing, what learning can be for each child and each family to meet their scheduling needs and meet their learning needs, that's something we were already doing. And so we are poised to be in a position where we're already asking families, what can we create, what is possible for us to bring the school into existence and in a way where everyone can thrive and everyone can feel supported and everyone can be heard. It's really is that time?
No, you're good.
Oh, okay. It's just interesting that I actually called people that I knew to come and build iDream back in 2016 at the same time that cities were burning, people were being killed by the police, Black lives needed to matter. And here we are again in the same time, talking about and fighting for the same things. And we created iDream because we believe that every life matters, especially the lives of Black and Brown children in undervalued communities and in undervalued communities themselves. And that the idea of valuing the brilliance and the genius and the wealth of communities that has to be incorporated into teaching and learning, and that has to be a way to make sure that we all thrive, and that children grow, and that children can figure out who they are, who they're here to be, and figure out what it is they want their lives to be. So we are back in the same place, and I think it is just divinely guided that we're back here and coming to you to ask that you give us full charter approval so that we can create this space, this special place, and for all children to learn and to thrive, to be and to become.
Thank you. Board members.
Hi, this is Jim Sandman. Thank you very much for your presentation. Can you tell us more about your current enrollment situation? You were authorized to go up to 90. The most recent number we have is 41. Can you tell us what the current number is, how it's spread among the different grades, and what your plans are for trying to get closer to your goal?
Yes, is Matt here
Yep,
to speak to that? Great, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sandman. This is Matt Whitnall, the Director of Operations at IGEAM. Happy to take that question. So yes, our ceiling is 90. Given the pandemic, we have sort of redone our budget to a more conservative 80 learners, which we call students. And we are definitely optimistic that we can hit that. Currently, we are at 45 learners, and that's more heavily weighted through the lower early childhood grades. So 14 in pre-K 3, 10 in pre-K 4, 12 in kinder, and then 4 and 5 respectively for first and second grade. And so we're excited that we are halfway to our ceiling and more than halfway to the 80, which is, as I mentioned, sort of our new goal. One metric that we, to kind of illustrate that optimism that we have, is the fact that we have just hit 100 total applications. We are averaging about 4 applications per week, which is more than what we averaged before the My School DC deadline, which we believe shows the increasing demand for our school based on our efforts, which primarily include much more social media presence, a lot more family engagement. We recently brought on a full-time Education Pioneer Fellow who has a public relations background to focus on those community outreach efforts.
Thank you.
Let me just actually, can I just jump in here? I just thought about this. When another thing that we are already had already built into our model that is going to serve us well in this again uncertain time of enrollment is our multi-age cohorts. So we have the ability, and we have the space, and we have the plan to be able to have multiple ages in one class. And we had planned on having preschool, pre-K in a class, and then a pre-KK, and then first and second. But we can also flex that depending on, the number of learners that we have. So that gives us the ability to be able to create the classes that we need and that we've budgeted for.
Thanks, Janine. Naomi, you go. I have a question too.
As a follow-up to that, in light of COVID, how do you plan on just maintaining health standards and safety standards with what you just named, in saying that you would be able to have smaller classes or to condense classes? Just give us your contingencies around the impact of COVID and your model.
Matt, would you like to start, and then I'll follow?
Sure. I think from a pure safety standpoint, we are definitely investing in all the protective equipment that we need. I think to start off, because we are not at capacity, as you all know, we're in a temporary space located at East Washington Heights Baptist Church, and we have the extra space there. We are currently working with our bathrooms are getting renovated, and so upon moving in, everything will be sanitized, cleaned for the summer for the move-in. But we've been working with various vendors to supply the right amount of masks for staff, for the gloves, making sure we have hand sanitizer as needed and where needed. And so, yeah, I think from a safety equipment perspective, we are definitely ready to start the year.
Mm-hmm. And this is where we are customizing the plan. So we have started asking, we're asking families what type of schedule works best for them and works best for their learners. And so we're getting data back from them. Some people really don't feel safe coming to school, having their children come to school at all. They want to have virtual learning, while there are other families who feel that, you know, my child is better served if they are in school every day. And then we have those who see that a mix of being in person and virtual, an A/B schedule would work best for them. So we're now taking that information and then looking at how we make sure who's present in the space at what time to make sure that we are practicing safe distancing. And then we're also providing every learner with the same type of quality learning, whether they're in person or virtual, to maintain you know, their education throughout the year.
Thank you both.
You're welcome.
Thank you. My question was going to continue along somewhat of the same lines in terms of serving our youngest learners in the city, how you're thinking about pre-K and K classrooms virtually.
I'll take this one.
Yep, go ahead, Lensa.
This is Lensa, UFA Director of Inquiry and Learning. This has been a huge focus. A lot of feedback from families of children that are very young are that, you know, it's really hard for them to engage in virtual learning. And we've done some piloting in terms of our engagement around hands-on learning materials that we sent home, recognizing that, you know, virtual facilitation is necessary, but how can we provide some of the materials to still provide you know, that kind of hands-on activity that is so important for all of us, but especially for young developing minds. And while those piloted materials were really not a part of our, you know, our original curriculum resources, we are very grateful for them because they're wonderful and they have been super supplementary as we rethink, you know, what kinds of professional materials do we need now if we're engaging families more, which has been a part of our model the whole time, is really engaging families. And so what does that look like now? One great resource that we have found, Instruction Partners, which now they are providing you know, a summer series and sort of support around coaching to reimagine school, you know, through reopening. But they provided a really great framework just to help us think about what's the decision making and what you know, around what's possible, and thinking about what's, you know, synchronous versus asynchronous, and thinking about, you know, what are the decision points. And so we have been focused on shifting our you know, our piloting and redesign more towards elements of our specific model. So like, what does tribe time look like? That's, you know, where we meet in small groups to develop social emotional learning. What could that look like in person versus virtually versus hybrid versus, you know, if it's virtual synchronous altogether or asynchronous, if it's things that can be recorded and kids can do on their own. There's so many there's so many choices and so many resources. I want to kind of restate what Janine has just said about this incredible opportunity, you know, that the whole world is currently engaged in. We've been redesigning and thinking about school differently for the past 3-4 years, and now so many people are united in this work, and we've seen so much creativity and collaboration and generosity, you know, around this huge pivot. So we've, again, had really close partnerships with some of those curriculum partners who are already doing some of that design work, who have already done a lot to engage directly with families, who have already done a lot to shift professional learning, and thinking differently about how we need to engage learners in multiple ways, virtual and in person.
Yeah, and I want to also add, thank you, Lessek, because she's been doing extensive work on distance learning. We have also, since this is our first time doing this, you know, we are learners. All of us that are creating iDream are all learners, and so we needed to learn from people who did this distance learning, online learning last year. So we pulled together our new staff of coaches, and we sat at their feet and just listened to them to hear about, you know, what has online learning been like. Some of them have taught 3- and 4-year-olds this past year, and so we learned that, you know, it really is necessary for 3- and 4-year-olds to have that classroom environment before they are set up to do online learning. Or if we're going to do online learning, we have to figure out how to engage them, just like Lessek said. So we are not only doing our own research and figuring out, you know, what we can do in learning from experts, but we're also listening to the experts from last year who have, you know, who are in there doing it and figuring out what worked for their children.
Thank you. Board members, any other questions?
I'm just curious. Thank you, everyone, for your presentation so far. I had asked the Sojourner Truth team earlier how the professional associations of the Montessori world have supported them in adapting their learning model to a different learning environment. And I know that your relationship with EL and Montessori is different than theirs is, but I'm also curious for you what kind of support and guidance in your creative thinking. You mentioned instruction partners, but I'm specifically interested in the really unique learning model that is core to what makes iDream a really different school.
Thanks. I'll take this one too, Janine.
Go ahead.
Thanks so much for this question. We have made very intentional choices about our curriculum partners. And one way that's shown up is just their, I believe it was Justin who kind of talked about Montessori's, you know, real ability to be experimental in being flexible in this moment. And I actually have a meeting with our EL education curriculum partner this week. We had already been modifying the curriculum to serve our multi-age model, and so that was some work that we were just doing on the side. You know, we've been doing throughout the year, and you know, all this has been happening. She's been conducting virtual professional learning virtually. They've been providing throughout, you know, resources about how to, you know, engage in the modules and the lessons, they've been modifying them for that kind of online delivery. So that's been a useful guide as we continue modifying the curriculum for multi-age. Creative curriculum is a wonderful curriculum choice that's very intentionally aligned to EL, actually, with its real approach to being learner-centered and being very interdisciplinary. They have done a lot to, I was mentioning this, engage families with some of the curriculum resources. I mean, literally doing some of the work that I was doing, which was trying to make some of the curriculum resources more accessible to teachers. coaches, we call them, but they've been doing this in a way for families. So they've already curated some online resources that are not only accessible for our coaches to engage with online, but are also accessible to families. So those are just two examples. I'm happy to go on and on. It's been really exciting work, as I've mentioned, but those are two of our primary examples.
Thank you.
Any other questions at this time? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to fully approve the charter of iDream Public Charter School and approve the DC PCSB board chair to sign the charter agreement on the board's behalf.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Roll call vote. Leah Crucy.
Aye.
Steve Bumbaugh.
Aye.
Saba Beretta.
Aye.
Ricardo Ganjam.
Aye.
Naomi Shelton.
Aye.
Jim Sandman.
Aye.
And Rick Cruz is an aye as well. Congratulations, iDream team.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A lot of work.
I'm sorry if that
Thank
was
you.
inappropriate, but we're excited.
Totally appropriate. I know there's
Roller coaster cheers coming.
lots of work still to do, and unfortunately continued uncertainty, but appreciative for the thinking and the planning that you all have done. And again, I know we're all eager to see how the school year unfurls, and hopefully we'll get a chance to actually see it.
Yes, we would love to have you there. Thank you.
Thank you.
For this opportunity.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. All right, next up is the Girls Global Academy.
All right, I think that is everybody. Karen, please let me know if there was another member of your team that we're missing. Okay, hello again. DCPCSB staff recommends that the board vote to fully approve the 15-year charter agreement of Girls Global Academy Public Charter School, effective July 1st, 2020, and expiring no later than June 30th, 2035. The charter agreement includes the school's facility address at 733 8th Street Northwest. Over the past year, the school has met all conditions set forth in its decision letter, including securing a facility, and it has demonstrated its economic viability by submitting a staff-reviewed contingency budget. Staff also recommends that Board Chair Rick Cruz signs the agreement on the board's behalf. Representatives from Girls Global Academy Public Charter School are here if you have any remaining questions.
All right, Girls Global team, any opening remarks? Otherwise, we'll turn it to questions.
Hi, are you able to hear me?
Yes.
This is Karen here. So I am going to make a short opening remark. I just wanted to be able to thank the Public Charter School Board for making this virtual public meeting possible. And it will be our last meeting in the near future for Girls Global Academy and the leadership team and board members to represent us. I am on the call. I'm the co-founder and executive director. Shane Swift, our co-founder and principal, is also on the call. Jason Mellon, our director of finance and operations, is on the call, and Paige Fryer, our student support services coordinator, is on the call. And I believe we have members of our board supporting us as well. And we just want to be able to thank all of our founding families and students for choosing us, and if they're on the call, for attending tonight as well. Based on our progress and consultation and support from our families, staff, and our board, we ask that the DC Public Charter School Board fully approve the 15-year charter agreement for Girls Global Academy. We know we are ready to open our school and have demonstrated this through 7 key areas. We have successfully satisfied all tasks required since our conditional approval on May 20th, 2019. We have secured a facility that can accommodate the projected enrollments, planned academic program, and personnel. We are successfully recruiting our founding student class. We have hired a staff that will promote a reimagined high school experience for our girls. We pursue candidacy for the International Baccalaureate Career Program that every student can access. We continue to work with members from the community to build our education supports. And we produce budgets that show we will be fully operable and can implement our academic program with fidelity. I want to reiterate, because you matter is our motto. The vision for Girls Global Academy is literally 10 years in the making, with Shane and I just thinking about this at my kitchen table, and our dedication to the 6-word mission, fostering pathways to lead and learn, will open opportunities for our girls to explore what is possible. Girls Global Academy is the first all-girls public charter high school in Washington, D.C., and we are committed to the actions that equip the next generation of leaders to navigate the world with confidence and compassion, to succeed in any path they may choose. And our approach to education will allow girls to develop strong voices that inspire change. We will provide our students a global education that ignites empowerment and develops confidence to influence change for global benefit. And our program has 3 primary focuses. Our program will have a distinctive engineering and business pathways. Our school culture values all learners by working daily to fulfill our 4 promises of sisterhood, scholarship, service, and safety. And we extend rigorous academics to experiences outside of the classroom. During our planning year, we continue to build relationships and community by promoting our 4 pillars through events that we hosted and attended throughout our planning year. The pandemic has produced a challenging time and a situation that no one wants to be in. And in spite of this challenge, our team has shown that we have the skills and disposition to meet the goals before us and open a school that continues to be what families want. We're continued to developing relationships with our partners. We have connected with organizations like the YWCA, Society of Women Engineers at George Washington, W Girls, and YSA. Learn Serve International will also support leadership and advocacy development for our students. Our Student Support Services Coordinator leads the path in focusing efforts to support students that have learning differences to ensure access to all programs is available. Crucial to the successful implementation of our program is the formation of a career pathway steering team. This group, led by our wonderful principal, Shane Swift, works together with local industry professionals, higher education personnel, and school staff to ensure the successful planning, startup, maintenance, and continuous improvement of the program. We do this because she matters. So I say, can you imagine confident girls that are designers, innovators, community builders, entrepreneurs, and dreamers? We can imagine all of this and more for our students, and she can get her high school education in the rooms of Girls Global Academy. Again, we ask you to vote to fully approve the 15-year charter agreement for Girls Global.
Thank you. Board members, questions for the Girls Global team?
I'll kick off with the same question my colleagues have asked other schools, which is, what does your enrollment look like today?
Sure. Our enrollment today is, we've had actually a really successful enrolling process over the last few months. The pandemic obviously has created challenges for us, but with our leadership team, a member of our recruiting team that we hired full-time, and our board members have all come together to really make sure that we are on track to enroll our students. So to date, we've offered 99 seats to our students. Currently, we're about 76 enrolled. 76% enrolled based on the 80 student projection. from OSSI. And we have about 15 families that have active offers. And so if we're able to complete all of the students and their families that are in the enrollment pipeline right now, we would be able to enroll 95% of our projected enrollment target of 80 students. We'll continue to get new applications. We continue to get new applications, and Jason will be able to speak to that, but we continue to get new applications, and our ceiling is 90 students. And so even though the enrollment target is projected at 80 students, we're going to continue to push forward until we get 90 student enrollment.
Thank you for that. And I guess I'll follow up from that. What plans do you have to pursue that goal over the course of the next couple months?
Sure, I'll speak first and then I can kick that off to Jason. So one of the things that we've begun to pursue since we were on a recent call with My School DC, that about 12,000 students have not matched or been offered a seat in Washington, DC. And so we reached back out. We have about 183 families that throughout our recruiting period over the last year and a half, we reached back out to those families to ask them, have they chosen a high school? And what we found out is that some of those families have not chosen a high school. And so we are going to continue to call those families using a balanced approach that we've done before. We have board members that just simply reach out for wellness calls, and we're going to continue that because it's still a challenging time for families with COVID, and some families are still thinking about how they are going to be safe and still be able to pay their bills. But we are reaching out to those families to invite them to enroll at Girls Global Academy. We are hoping that set of families is going to turn our remaining seats into filled seats with our girls at Girls Global Academy. We're going to continue our online enrollment process. We are going to continue to do our targeted and personalized communications, our social media. We're going to continue with our wellness calls home, because what we find is when we are personalizing these messages to our families, they begin to speak to other families, and then we can get referrals from that. We've been hosting monthly sisterhood chats where our girls actually participate in those, and as a result, they're able to go out and speak to their friends. We are looking at a social media outreach platform, and then more recently, we're going to begin our awareness campaigns. Now that we're still socially distancing, but now that we're moving into a phase 2, it allows us to have a little bit more movement within the city and have communication and contact with families in a more safe way. Jason, you can add additional.
Sure. I think you really covered everything, but I'll just add the number, which is 61 students as of today.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, 61.
Mm-hmm. No worries.
Can you tell us about your facility and any updates on construction and deadlines for completion?
You know, that is actually a really great question. So one of the things that we chose when we were looking for a location, we were looking at a place that it was not just the cost of the building over time and location and accessibility, but we also looked at the renovation and the growth potential. And so as everyone knows, that our location is at the Calvary Baptist Church on 8th Street. And so in year 1, we're actually occupying the 3rd floor, the gym, and the multi-purpose room. That provides us the space that we need. And the building doesn't need any major renovations to the classrooms. And we'll be move-in ready by an August first day of school opening. What we are doing is we're painting the 3rd floor. We fobbed the doors so that the doors are safe to get in, so that the only people that are able to get in are individuals that are with fobs. And we're creating a main office area where there's a window so that we're able to see out of the space and see our wonderful families entering the space. And we just making sure that the space that we do occupy for learning when we do have the opportunity to come back on campus is within the social distance guidelines. But it is really a move-in ready space for the 3rd floor that we will be occupying.
Thank you.
One question I have as you think about the opening and accommodating uncertain conditions this fall, how you're thinking about creating that community, that sisterhood, perhaps somewhat virtually amongst your first class of young women.
Yes. What I'm happy for is that we have Paige and we have Shane on our team who have been working together to be able to create that. And so one of the things that we've been thinking about is just a hybrid virtual or an on-campus learning model. And when we go and we visit with our students, one of the things that they talked about is how are we going to be able to make friends, and what does that look like? What does sisterhood look like? Our students are already beginning to use their voice about how are they going, how is Because You Matter going to work for them? And so we know that the transition to high school is one that is challenging. And so we want to make sure that our students are starting off and building relationships with each other and their instructors from the very, very first day. And so we've started that process already in our sisterhood chats that Shane leads and Jason monitors and facilitates. And so one of the things that we would be able to use is our abilities as tech lovers. We have our students in whole group, and then we put them in breakout rooms where we have questions that they would be able to answer. And so what it does, it gives them the opportunity to, number one, practice what does it mean to have a voice in a very safe way. Our students are going to participate in a 2-week orientation. Some people just do 2 days, some people do 4 days. We're doing a 2-week orientation at the beginning of the school where all of our students will start to learn what it's like and what it means to be in a meaningful relationship through building activities. We really want building community to be at the core of what we do. Shane always talks about we must know our students, and we've passed that on to our founding staff. We must know our students. They need to know that we know them, and that will take place in the beginning of the year. And as we start to make our decisions about whether we are going to be an on-campus, have an on-campus learning model or virtual, start our year off in a virtual way, we need to reacclimate. We need to have our students reacclimate to what it's like to be in in-person learning because they haven't been in that space for 6 months. The other is our staff will participate in not a week, but they will participate in a 3-week orientation that includes professional learning sessions about how we would be delivering our program, whether it's on campus or in a virtual setting. Our principal has also supported and looked at our curriculum for a really long time, about 2 years, maybe 2.5 years at this point in time, to ensure that there's adaptations for virtual learning environments, if that is the space that we need to work. And then the other is being able to continue with our advisory program. We are likely going to alter the number of times that we would meet in our advisory program if we go for a virtual environment from 4 days out of the week to a Monday and a Friday, and then still continue with a meeting that our principal would lead on Wednesdays. And then the last way, I think, how we start to continue to build sisterhood in that is our staff has already, Shane has already thought about like what the needs of the staff are supposed to be and has already sent our Pathways teachers out to learn how to deliver our program virtually or in person so that our students feel connected and a part of our school, even if it's virtual.
Thank you. You guys have quite the plan in place. Excellent. Any other questions from the board? All right. If not, I will take a motion on Girls Global. Someone? Any board member?
I move to fully approve the charter of Girls Global Academy Public Charter School Board, Public Charter School, and approve the DC PCSB board chair to sign the charter agreement on the board's behalf.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. Roll call vote. Leah Crucy?
Aye.
Jim Sandman?
Aye.
Ricardo Ganjon?
Aye.
Naomi Shelton?
Aye.
Ava Beretta?
Aye.
Steve Bumbaugh?
Aye.
And Rick Cruz is an aye as well. Congratulations, Girls Global team.
Yay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Your faces.
I don't know how to turn on the video. It's
No,
not,
I don't
it's
think
not
we're letting-
normal, so sorry.
Good luck with the rest of the summer. And again, we're hoping we'll get a chance to see y'all in action this fall.
Thank you so
Absolutely.
much.
Come on by.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, Hannah, the last
Last
one.
but not least,
Capitol Village.
Capitol Village. Yep. I'll wait till their leadership team joins, and then I'll kick it off.
Hi, this is Monica Green. Can you guys hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Hi.
And I am here with Keena Hodge. Keena.
Hi, Keena Hodge here, Director of Operations.
Awesome. And we have some members of our board who are, they're not mic'd, but they're here as well. So we're here.
Okay, perfect. I will begin. So for the final time tonight, hello. DC PCSB staff recommends that the board vote to fully approve the 15-year charter agreement of Capitol Village Public Charter School, effective July 1st, 2020, and expiring no later than June 30th, 2035. The charter agreement includes the school's facility address at 705 Edgewood Street Northeast. Over the past year, the school has met all conditions set forth in its decision letter, including securing a facility. And it has demonstrated its economic viability by submitting a staff-reviewed contingency budget. Staff also recommends that Board Chair Rick Cruz signs the agreement on the board's behalf. Representatives from Capitol Village Public Charter School are here if you have any remaining questions.
Excellent. Monica, did you want to make any opening statements?
Yes, thank you, Rick. I appreciate it. Monica Green, Executive Director and Founder of Capitol Village. Tonight, we are here full of gratitude. So I just want to spend a minute saying thank you. So we want to thank the Charter Board for your guidance and your support this year and last year. We appreciate Hannah, who has been like a godsend throughout this whole process. We appreciate Scott and the other staff members who've also been able to consult with us if we have questions as we launched. Of course, our own board, Capitol Village, and our leadership team. We also thank them because, you know, as we have navigated, this has been a team process, and through the ups and downs, our team is super strong. I'd also love to thank our mentor schools like Two Rivers and Capital City and Mundo Verde, also Washington Leadership Academy, whose leaders have been gracious and shared with us how they have navigated this process and just opening a school in general. And we have been able to just take advantage of their wisdom throughout this process. We want to say thank you to our funders, our consultants, other schools, the other 5 schools. We've been 5 schools strong this whole time and really appreciate them. And of course, EL Education, who's our partner in this. So tonight we're coming to ask for the board to approve our charter agreement based on the fact that we have satisfied all conditions set by the board, including showing that we're an economically viable organization and that we are ready to deliver on our promise to be a school that is personalized and student-centered, a middle school that will allow students to have their unique needs, interests, and ambitions met. The mission of Capitol Village Public Charter School is to prepare all students, regardless of background or circumstance, to reach their full potential in college, career, and life in order to be agents of change in their community. Agents of change. This is definitely the time for agents of change. And our goal is to, whether we are in person or not, to continue to deliver on that promise, to teach students through real world courses and allow them to be a part of the change that's happening in our community. So we have received thus far 113 applications, and we are almost 60% of the way to our target goal of 80, with 46 families completely enrolled thanks to our enrollment team. And our team is also still working to match our families and get them enrolled as well, whether via online, whether on paper, or driving by and picking up their applications. We have a permanent facility that we can stay in for 15 years if we so choose. We have 100% of our instructional staff hired. Our curriculum is developed. Our expeditions are written. And we have secured partnerships like Washington Debate League to help our students learn debate, Network for Teaching Entrepreneurship so that our students can build businesses while they're 5th and 6th graders, and Washington Improv Theater so that our kids can learn the art of improv. We've also secured mentorships from other successful schools, as I said, and thought partnerships as far as how we're planning COVID. So finally, Capitol Village PCS is a small learning community where learners take the lead, grow together, and change the world. We're an intentionally small school with 45 students per grade level and 2 teachers in every classroom. And so this village is focused on our students' individual needs, and this is definitely the time for a school like this. So we urge the board to vote yes so that we are able to deliver on this promise. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Questions from our board?
It looks like Monica answered a lot of the questions that we would have walked through. So I will ask, in terms of COVID planning, how are you all coming along with making adjustments for that?
Thank you. Hi, Naomi.
Hello.
So yes, we are making progress with our COVID planning. One of the things that is interesting in our last, or maybe, one of our last leadership meetings, we sort of thought like our model itself was built in a way that was flexible enough from the beginning to be able to shift in this manner. So as you remember, our intentionally small model, we only had, a target enrollment of 80 in the first place. And so it's easier with our building that can, I'll pass it to her in a minute, but it's like 17 spaces, she says, that we can hold students in. So we were able to immediately create groups of 8 to 10 students that could be socially distant within our building. So we were just blessed in that way, but then also we blended learning tools and virtual instruction was a part of our model in the beginning. So like our lab setting, students would use personalized learning tools, such as, with our Dreambox for math. And so it was just something that was already in the fabric of our model. And so we were able to sort of pivot right away. It did push us even harder towards that goal of student-centered and personalized learning. But right now we do have a schedule for 100% virtual. We have a schedule for 100% in person. And we have 2 schedules right now for a hybrid schedule, depending on how the mayor decides to recommend, but also just thinking about our families. So safety, flexibility, and the needs of our students, they are our priority. we asked parents what they wanted. We polled our staff. We held a focus group with families. And we also participated in one of the many of the work groups that we have currently. We're able to offer things like PE online and related service and SPED services online and in person. And so because of that creativity of our team, I feel like we're super poised to be able to give families what they need, whether it's I want my child to go to school 4 days a week, or I want my child to stay home the whole time. We're ready for that. I'm gonna pass it to Kina so she can talk about some of the safety measures we're taking on campus.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And just to echo Monica's sentiments, we are super appreciative of the board, of the staff. Hannah has been amazing. I email her constantly with questions that she probably answered 20 times already, but I just want to again express our gratitude to everyone. And just to piggyback off of Monica in regards to our COVID planning. So from an operational standpoint, we have definitely taken a very proactive approach to how we plan to open. So we have already procured over $6,000 worth of PPE, which has included disposable masks, reusable masks, hand sanitizer stations, gloves, wipes, pretty much everything that we would need to open up. And we have purchased enough quantities to at least hold us for the first 2 to 3 months of the school year. Additionally, we have also started to already put together our arrival and dismissal plans, which include 3 entry and exit points for students. So when we think about trying to allow students to enter the building, we'll have 3 possible entry points so that they can get into the building safely and efficiently. In addition to that, we have already identified a room that will serve as our quarantine space. So if a student or staff or visitor comes to the building and they may exhibit certain symptoms, we have a quarantine space where they can be at until they are able to leave from campus. As Monica mentioned, we have 17 classrooms. So the beauty of our building is that we have ample space to be able to accommodate these current restrictions that are imposed on the schools right now. And so we have over 17 classrooms, and so we have more than enough space to accommodate small classroom sizes of 10 to 12 students. And then lastly, in terms of cleaning, we are in the process of selecting our janitorial vendor, and one of the requirements that we have been looking at is their ability to provide COVID cleaning on a daily basis, but also we are looking for weekly electrostatic cleaning, which will help to sanitize the building on a very consistent basis. And we intend to do that midweek, every single week until this is over, and really probably not until this is over. We probably will indefinitely be utilizing all of these COVID cleaning strategies throughout. So we have, again, just been very proactive in making sure that students and families are going to feel safe as they're on campus, as well as our staff.
Thank you for that. As a follow-up and a follow-up to our last meeting, do you all, I know we talked about the facility cost, and with your contingencies around your enrollment, what have you decided to do in terms of additional funding to offset the facilities cost, and how do you think this will impact your long-term financial outlook?
Thank you. Well, as required by the board, we submitted a contingency budget, and that budget is based on just 45 students. And that budget makes some sacrifices, but it preserves our core program. And in that budget, so like if we hadn't enrolled any other students over the next few months, we would still be at a net income of over $200,000 and over 30 days of cash. We are utilizing Title B funds to support implementation, and also some of the care funding to help us with our PPE purchases. We made some slight changes with staff. So like our DSS will have a caseload of students, things like that. But we also have that $200,000 OSCE credit guarantee if we need to. It's actually in the closing process now, so that if we needed additional funds, if we needed to borrow money for our building, then we have that guaranteed credit available from OSCE. So if for some reason, even with this contingency budget, we were unable to meet our rental obligations, we have that. Our budget is really, the strength of it is also in the fact that like our rent abatement is something that we are using in this first year anyway. So we weren't paying full rent anyway this year. And that's obviously very helpful as we were building a contingency fund. We do have leverage to use Title B funding more. Like if we decide to use more funding in year one, we can do that. So that $500,000, I believe, of $500 and something thousand of funding that we are getting. It's right now in our budget split up among the first 2 years, but we could pull from that as an additional contingency if we wanted to. And so we've already been working with OSCE to identify like what allowable expenses we have planned on, but we could additionally pull on if necessary. And so, yeah, with those contingencies and also just the additional ones that we could pull from, we're super confident that we'll be able to meet our obligations.
And just to really quickly piggyback, I think you guys are already aware that we already have a partnership with Urban Teachers, who will also be bringing in additional revenue for the space as well.
Yeah, thank you, Kina.
Thank you for that.
Other questions from the board? I think you laid out an update that's very helpful, so appreciate that.
Thank you.
Leah Crucy is recused from this, but other than Leah, I'm happy to entertain a motion if there are no other questions.
I move to fully approve the charter of Capitol Village Public Charter School and approve the DC PCSB board chair to sign the charter agreement on the board's behalf.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Roll call vote. Ricardo Ganjam.
Aye.
Naomi Shelton.
Aye.
Saba Beretta.
Aye.
Steve Bumbaugh.
Aye.
Jim Sandman.
Aye.
And Rick Cruz with an aye. You are officially approved. Congratulations, Capitol Village.
Yay, thank you.
Thank you so much. We're so excited. Thank you.
Might as well look forward to being able to see the school.
Yep.
All right, Hannah, we are done. Board members, any new business? Otherwise, I will take a motion to adjourn.
Just want to recognize and thank Hannah for her good work with all of this.
Well, thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks.
amen to that.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, I will take a motion to adjourn then.
I move to adjourn the June 29th, 2020 board meeting.
Second.
All right, motion and a second. Roll call vote. Leah Crucy.
Aye.
Saba Beretta.
Aye.
Steve Bumbaugh.
Aye.
Naomi Shelton.
Aye.
Ricardo Ganjam.
Aye.
Jim Sandman.
Aye.
And Rick Cruz with an aye. We are adjourned. Thank you, board members.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good
Thank
night.
you.